The storm had rolled in with an ominous ferocity, casting the suburban neighborhood into darkness. By the time the power went out, Ellie had already lit a candle, its dim flicker barely holding the shadows at bay. Rain lashed against the windows like a relentless drumbeat, and the occasional gust of wind whistled through the trees outside. The house, at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac, seemed to shrink under the oppressive weight of the storm's fury. Ellie, a 28-year-old freelance graphic designer, was no stranger to spending nights alone. She'd always enjoyed the solitude, the quiet hours perfect for finishing her projects or curling up with a book. Tonight was no different, or so she thought. Wrapped in a thick sweater, she sat on the couch, her focus on the pages of a mystery novel. The world outside felt far away, and despite the storm, she felt secure within the walls of her home. Until the knock came. It was sharp and deliberate, slicing through the rhythmic patter of rain. Ellie froze, her eyes darting toward the front door. The knock came again, louder this time. 3 deliberate raps, spaced just enough to send a chill down her spine. Her heart began to race. Who could be knocking at this hour, in this weather? She set the book aside and tiptoed to the door, her breath catching as she peered through the peephole. Darkness greeted her. There was no one on the porch. Ellie's hand hovered over the lock. A wave of unease swept over her, but she shook it off. It was probably just a trick of the storm, she reasoned. Maybe a branch had hit the door, or the wind had jostled something loose. She locked the deadbolt, reassured herself that the house was secure, and returned to the couch. Minutes passed. The candle's flame danced in the still air, and the rain continued its relentless assault on the roof. Ellie tried to immerse herself in her book, but her concentration faltered. The silence inside the house felt heavier now, oppressive. Then it came again. This time, the knock wasn't at the front door, but the back. 3 distinct knocks, each one more insistent than the last. Ellie's stomach dropped. The backyard was fenced in. No one should be there. Grabbing her phone, she swiped at the screen, only to realize it was dead. The battery had drained hours ago. She cursed under her breath and grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen. The beam cut through the darkness as she moved cautiously toward the back door. Her pulse quickened as she shone the light through the glass pane. The rain blurred her view, but the yard appeared empty. Still, the sensation of being watched prickled at her skin. As she turned away, a loud thud echoed from upstairs. Ellie's breath caught. She hadn't been upstairs all day. Slowly, she made her way to the staircase, the flashlight trembling in her grip. Each step creaked beneath her weight, the sound amplified in the stillness of the house. At the top of the stairs, the hallway stretched out before her, dark and foreboding. A sudden knock at the front door made her whirl around. It was no longer a polite tap, but a pounding, as if someone was trying to force their way in. Panic surged through her, and she gripped the flashlight like a weapon. The knocking stopped abruptly, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. Ellie crept back down the stairs, her ears straining for any sound. She approached the front door cautiously, her heart hammering in her chest. Just as she reached for the peephole, a crash upstairs sent her running back up the staircase. Her mind raced. Was someone already inside? At the top of the stairs, she noticed the attic hatch slightly ajar. Her blood ran cold. The hatch had been closed earlier. She was certain of it. The thought that someone could have been in the house the entire time sent a wave of terror crashing over her. Ellie backed away slowly, her flashlight casting jittery beams across the walls. She locked herself in her bedroom, barricading the door with a chair and her dresser. Hours passed as she sat huddled in the corner, clutching a kitchen knife. The storm raged on outside, the wind howling like a phantom in the night. When dawn finally broke, the rain subsided, and a pale gray light seeped through the curtains. Ellie ventured out cautiously, her steps tentative and her heart still pounding. The house was eerily still. She checked every room, every corner, but nothing seemed out of place. It wasn't until she approached the front door that she noticed something unusual. Faint, muddy footprints led away from the porch and disappeared into the street. Her stomach churned. Someone had been there, but who and why? Ellie never found out who had knocked on her door that night, or how they had vanished so quickly. The mystery lingered, a shadow over her thoughts. Every time rain tapped against the windows, she couldn't help but remember the knocks, persistent, deliberate, and unanswered. The sense of safety she once felt in her home was gone, replaced by an unshakable unease. And in the back of her mind, one question remained. Would they come back?